Johnny Somali got destroyed in court. Holy shit. Thank fucking God. I am so happy to see this happen. This is what you call the happy ending. This is the good ending. This is the right ending.
Johnny Somali, a.k.a. Ramzi Khalid Ismail, was absolutely crushed today in court, and we have massive consequences as the FAFO hits. We're going to get into that today on Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm
How about that?
American attorney over here in Asia, and this is a Fast Facts video, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. And of course, we've been following the Johnny Somali trial from the beginning and giving you the
you've got to understand that a person like this is like really not that much. Like, these people are functional animals. They act like animals. They have no impulse control. They have no emotional regulation. Honestly, you could train a dog better than you could probably train Johnny Somali. So when you see a person acting out like this, really, it's not even in a case their fault. It's just the way that they are. It's just bad crazy bad spawn RNG.
Real narrative, the real facts, the real consequences on what's going down in Korea for Johnny Somali. And we are at the end here. We indeed had a massive hearing today that actually had a little bit of a twist, which we'll get into and get into the details here. So today's hearing, we thought, was just going to be involving modifying the indictment.
Isn't it crazy that, like, Johnny Somali was like the unspoken harbinger of the Minnesota fraud? Like, we didn't even realize there was a connection at all until, and like, this is the type of thing where like all the pieces of the web come together and make the full picture. Can you believe that?
Potentially either, you know, modifying the deepfakes, adding charges, maybe doing something else like that. But what they threw in was they added in closing arguments. Typically that is done on a different day, but they allowed those closing arguments to proceed today. So we actually have an update on Johnny Somali's closing argument and his whole spiel, his last attempt to make his defense, which failed miserably.
What a surprise.
We had the Somali conviction team present there, taking notes, taking transcripts, so we have very good details there.
He blamed it on South Korean culture? Yeah, of course he did.
Hank in the courtroom. This is the second time that Hank has not been there in the courtroom with Ramzi Khalid
That was
Ismail.
his friend.
Johnny Somali, a.k.a. Ramzi Khalid Ismail, RKI, made a very bad argument in terms of his closing argument. That was
no way
really received. Everybody in the court was shocked by the fact that he was making these statements and going this angle with his closing argument.
He's just a retard.
Even the
That's
judge
what retards do.
Had a visible bad reaction to what he was doing. The prosecution also gave the recommended punishment, and it is way worse than most people would have expected. And actually has some real consequences for him, even in the United States. So we're going to talk about that as well. So let's jump right into it. Guys, in case you don't know, Ramzi
Look at all of these charges. Holy shit.
Ismail is facing 8 different charges. That's 4 obstruction of business, 2 minor offenses acts,
Jesus.
and 2 deepfakes.
Look at this guy.
He's been trying to get rid of this deepfake with Youngman and also the one with Bongbong, trying to kind of knock both of those things off, because that's stuff that carries serious.
It's illegal in South Korea to make deepfakes of people without their consent. And he did that, and he had one of like making out with this girl, and this is like super illegal over there.
Prison time.
That's what happened.
That's the thing where you can't wiggle out with a fine.
Yeah.
And because of that, he's already guilty on all these other counts. He already pled guilty to all these counts, but he's fighting these 2. He was really banking on today being a day where they drop those deepfakes, because these deepfakes.
And look at this here: rotting fish harassment, disrupting bus system, North Korean propaganda, disrupting 7-Eleven, twerking on a bus. Bro, what a fucking what an animal. Oh my God.
Prison time, mandatory recommendations.
It's crazy.
And he's got 2 of them on his count. They had this motion to modify the indictment, and they filed this days ago. I kept that under wraps because I wanted to see where this went and how this played out. Obviously, If there was a modification, we wanted to be able to explain it. So today we found out during the hearing what that was.
Okay.
RKI was hoping this was going to be the deepfakes drop. They were going to get rid of the Jungmann deepfake because he had a quote-unquote unofficial settlement with Jungmann. But mind you, in the Korean system, the prosecutors have all of the authority as to whether or not a charge is dropped.
Yeah, it's like a charge against the state or against society, not against that person necessarily. So even if that person forgives you, my understanding of it is that, like, I mean, this is the way the legal system works. You still have to go through the process the same as anything else.
What they do with the charge.
It's not like you can just undo that by saying that the person doesn't care.
So even if you receive a settlement with a victim saying, hey, or somebody else, the other
same
party
as domestic
there,
in the U.S.
because
exactly.
these people, Jungmann and RKI, both showed the deepfake, and the deepfake was of Jungmann and Hank making out naked.
That's what I'm saying.
Very definitely fits the deepfake statute just to a T. But the prosecution did not drop the charges. In fact, they did not even mitigate the charge. All they did was update a table of contents and update dates and times of some of the crimes, including some of the deepfakes. They
did not
updated those
fucking matter.
to be correct. So
I
all
love
they
it.
did was issue corrections to dates and times. So this is a massive, massive loss for RKI.
Mega L.
As his whole case
Omega
was banking
L.
on getting rid of these deepfakes. So let's jump into his closing argument. What did he say? And this is the words of Johnny Somali, a.k.a. Ramsey Kalidas.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Here we go.
I'm going to break it down and then we're going to do some analysis. So Ramsey said, I sincerely apologize for my actions in Korea. I express remorse for the incident for which I was charged. I have been held captive here in Korea.
Held captive. Oh, no.
For a year and a half, during which time
He's the
I
victim.
committed no crimes. That, by the way, I'm going to
It's not even true.
there. That's very debatable, as he's got other pending stuff being investigated that's criminal activity he would potentially commit.
These people can't stop. Like, they can't follow rules. They just can't do it. The only way you can deal with a person like this is to just institutionalize them and put them in a box, and that's it. Like, this is one of the problems. Like, a lot of people in, like, Western culture and, like, civilized society don't like this reality, is that some people are just functional animals. And the only way that you can deal with them is by removing their impact on the rest of the world. That's it.
He says, I learned to integrate into society during that time.
Nothing else is ever going to work.
I did some foolish things under the influence of alcohol, and I realized the consequences. I sincerely apologize for this. Having been born and raised in the United States, I did not realize how serious the consequences of the actions were, which would not be considered criminal in the U.S. and could be in Korea. I'm going to pause there. This statement and this framing, being sorry, not for what you really did, but sorry for the consequences.
Yeah.
This is very similar to when he said, I'm sorry this offends your honor in his previous apology about the comfort woman statute. It's not actually his actions he feels remorseful for,
it's their response.
There are consequences for his actions. Let's continue. I reached an agreement with Lee Jung-chuk, that's Jungmann, regarding the 2 deepfakes. That's actually false. He only received a settlement regarding one. The other was with Bong Bong. He doesn't have a settlement with her. And he no longer seeks punishment. Bong Bong made it clear in court that she was unaware distributing deepfake videos was a crime and initially viewed them as not sexual content, but funny images. If she, a Korean, did not recognize the same act as a crime, how could he, an American, have known it was? When I asked
Oh, God, bro. Like, this is like an 11th grader, man. Who comes up with this?
Bong Bong whether he had defendant's counsel consent to distribute the videos, Bong Bong said no. The law is unfair. Since the police didn't do anything when I tried to report Bong Bong, all I'm asking is for the law to be applied fairly. I want to appeal to the prosecution and police. It's unfair if Bong Bong and I receive different punishments. I'm still young. I want to see my family and go home. Please show leniency. So
absolutely not. Absolutely. I hope that they make his life hell. This guy is such a retard. He's so aggressive. He's not sorry for anything. The best thing that you can do is put him in a box and keep him there. And that's it.
That is all of his arguments. So essentially, once again, in closing, Ramsey Khalid Ismail is arguing that his ignorance of Korean culture led him to attack shopkeepers. That it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay to attack shopkeepers in America. The worst thing about it is that in some places he's not wrong.
okay in America to throw ramen at
ridiculous.
people, to curse, to disrupt business. Actually, no, it's not. A lot of those things would also be criminal in the United States, RKI. Right? A lot of those behaviors, even in the U.S., wouldn't be okay.
Johnny
They're trying to say
fucking
that's
Somali.
Korean culture. The judge
What a
did
retard.
not like that at all. He also claimed that Youngman doesn't want punishment, but it doesn't matter that Youngman doesn't want punishment. It's up to the prosecutors to determine whether to bring that forward or not.
Why would
And
they punish her? She's the one that's having it happen to her.
Last he attacked
It's retarded.
Bong Bong. You see how much you focused on this is unfair. Well, this argument, as I've said from the beginning of this case, is a loser in any country when it comes to criminal defense. You cannot say I should be innocent because you didn't charge this other person who did the same thing.
This is like I was speeding.
Speeding analogy.
Yeah, right. Okay. Everybody knows this.
You didn't give that guy a speeding ticket, therefore you can't give me a speeding ticket.
But were you speeding?
It simply doesn't work anywhere on earth, and him trying to use
it's an argument that's it's an argument made by a person with the mind of a child.
this here was always a
simple.
loser strategy, and the fact that he played it out is actually full comedy. And
Well, he's a
once
retard.
again, saying he's only really sorry for these consequences of his actions. Right?
Yes.
No knowledge. Ignorance of the law is not a defense,
No, it's not.
particularly in this case when he was on a spree. Continuing, the judge visibly reacted and gave side-eye. This is something that was perceived by the Somali Conviction Court. The judge is normally very serious, very straight-laced, no nonsense, but he had an actual physical reaction when RKI tried to blame ignorance of Korean culture. And when he started to attack Bong Bong.
Who's RKI? That's Johnny Somali's full name.
That she should be punished. That did not go well with anybody in the room. The
Big surprise.
The judge, they were not having.
Who would have guessed?
Not entertained by that. This argument that the law is unfair and the police didn't do anything about Bong Bong and that they received different punishments. That did not work at all. No one in the court thought that apology was sincere, and nobody was buying that argument. So what did the prosecution drop? Well, they dropped their sentencing recommendation, and it is insane. The prosecution suggested 3 years in prison with labor. Yes.
Man, it's finally happening. See, I've been asking for this for a while, and South Korea's doing it. See, this is what we need to do. We gotta do this same thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, labor. A fine of 150,000 Korean won, which is the maximum. If they could give more, they probably would give more. And sex offender registration. That is a bombshell. One of the biggest bombshells today.
3 years.
Sex offender registration.
This doesn't include the deepfake charges?
To adopt the prosecution's recommendation.
Oh my God.
Or only give a little bit below. So 2 to 3 years, very reasonable to say. You know, they recommended 3, maybe they give 2. Very reasonable to predict that. The fine, registration, that's the very, very likely ruling that's going to come up during sentencing, which will be the next hearing.
Forced labor, you love this shit? See, this is, I told y'all, like, this is the way you handle these people. You do.
His 2 smartphones are also forfeited. He is not going to get those back.
He lost his phone.
And as part of being a registered sex offender, his labor will only be with other prisoners, right? So likely he is going to get factory labor job or prison toilets because he is not going to be allowed as a sex offender in Korea to interact with normal people. And that is probably the best for normal human beings in Korea.
So he can't even pick cabbages? It says cabbage picking outside, maybe off the table. No. You can't even pick cabbages.
Not have to interact with Ramsey Ismail, Johnny Somali. So cabbage picking, unfortunately, I know we have our lovely
cabbages
lovely
for you
plushie here coming soon.
God.
But cabbage picking may be too good for him because that would actually involve him working with other people.
Oh, you can't
They're
have that
also
happen.
required to make a public disclosure, let everybody know about his sex offender status, and also put him on a mandatory sex offender treatment. So that's all part of the recommendation there.
Jesus, bro, this guy's getting wrecked.
So also, as a registered Korean sex offender, RKI, and this is the U.S. law where I come in, may be required to register as a U.S. sex offender under federal law.
Because if he's from another country,
now, this is interesting because convictions under the laws of any foreign country
oh my God,
require you to register. as long as that conviction was fair and had due process.
Yeah, sure.
South Korea meets this standard. He went through a lot of due process. This is considered fair by U.S. law, so South Korea is considered a fair country. It's not North Korea. It's not some sort of,
kangaroo
other country
court,
like Cuba or something like that that's going to have unfair political laws, etc., because South Korea would meet that standard. So,
dude, imagine being such a retard you can't even pick cabbages. Like, I mean, really. Think about how bad you have to be for that. You're not even allowed to pick a cabbage.
He's required to register upon 3 days of entering the U.S.
Jesus.
So he must register in any U.S. jurisdiction where he resides, works, or attends school. Failure to register in the U.S. can carry a 10-year jail sentence. So that is waiting for him after he gets out of jail in South Korea.
So it could be even worse.
Massive
Oh,
W.
I love this.
The next trial date
This is beautiful.
sentencing is set for April 15th, 2026.
So he's got 2 more months he's got to deal with this.
And now this is very funny. The judge asked him, hey, do you want to be sentenced quickly? And Johnny Somali said, yes, I would like to be sentenced quickly. And essentially ignored his wish in a little F you to Somali, ignored that, and normal procedure.
Do you want it? Okay, well, you're not going to get it.
Which is setting the sentencing 2 weeks after closing arguments. These were closing arguments. 2 weeks after would still be this
April 15th,
early March or mid-March.
Day.
No, we're going to put it in April 15th. So they set it for 2 months instead. So even on the way out, it looks bad for Johnny Somali. This is
tired
a total
of his ass,
loss
man.
for Cabbage Boy. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next.
Oh my fucking God. This is beautiful. I can't believe this even happened. I mean, really, like, this is a total blowout. And now they're going to make him work out in a factory cleaning toilets for 2 years of mandatory labor. This is fucking beautiful. Here, I'll link you guys the video. I love this so much. Yeah, see, this is the way these people need to be treated. This is the way you need to deal with them. 3 years, we said it'll probably go down to 2. But maybe you're right. Good things still happen, fortunately. Exactly. I am so happy to see this. Again, whatever we can do, whatever anybody can do to take a person like this and get them out of civilized fucking society, the world will be a better place. And it's that simple, man. What are the chances he'll act up in that time? The problem with people like Johnny Somali, as I said, is they have no impulse control. They can't behave or do anything that makes any bit of sense or act in their own best interest. And this is the big problem that a lot of people don't really understand, right? Is that they don't see how problematic this stuff actually is. They have no idea how bad it is. They're straight up animals. They are. And so the best thing that you can do for everybody is to just get them out of the ecosystem as much as fucking possible. So I'm glad to see that. Obviously, you know, we'll have to wait and see how things go. But April 15th will be a very big day, right? I mean, I think that'll be an insane day.